Bittensor is not just a blockchain or an AI project, it's a worldwide movement. My name is Jeremy, aka School of Crypto, and I'm bringing you another Bittensor video. So today, I had a really illuminating conversation with someone from the country of Iran. And he's a developer. He works in Python, C++, JavaScript. And I was just having a conversation with him about Bittensor and in ways that he can contribute. And so he potentially is going to be working as a miner on a subnet, and pretty excited for him. And he brought up an issue that was something that I kind of didn't think about. And he basically mentioned that in his country, he isn't able to really be a freelance contributor on websites like Upwork or other certain types of freelance websites. And basically, they don't allow the citizens to actually go on the websites and actually get that extra work. I believe it's the same situation in North Korea. I know that there's some censorship in Russia, along with a lot of other countries out there in the world, you know? So I thought to myself that Bittensor is like what Bitcoin was for money, or what Ethereum was for making contracts automated. That's what Bittensor is for freelance work all around the world. And for me, I think about how being in the United States or being in a country where there's a democracy, where you have certain freedoms, you kind of take that stuff for granted, you know, like you can go on Upwork and get a job that way, some sort of freelance work, or you can go to certain places and be able to work as an independent contractor, right? But you have other places in the world where it's not like that, you know? And I think like in 2009, when Bitcoin was incepted into the world, you finally had a technology or a money or a storage of value where you didn't have the bank's permission to actually transact, and you didn't have to worry about the government in terms of making sure that that currency is, you know, not inflating and it's not getting out of hand in terms of the money printing. And you had a permissionless, decentralized, finite supply of a currency that you can transact 24/7, 365. There weren't any bank hours. You were able to send stuff on a Sunday or a Saturday afternoon or at night during the week or in the early mornings in the weekdays as well. And, you know, that is the whole thing about Bitcoin and crypto, is that you have something that isn't controlled by any third party or any institution or any government. Anyone can send it at any point in time, and it's just controlled by code, you know? So that's the thing that everybody kind of misses in terms of, like, you know, understanding what Bitcoin is. Like, if you kind of aren't in crypto, you haven't really looked into it, everybody always says, what's it backed by? It's backed by nothing. Well, no, it's backed by a ton of hash power, and it's backed by the decentralization, the permissionlessness nature of the actual currency. And that's very powerful, you know? And for me, with what Bittensor does, it makes the censored uncensored in terms of being able to get work without literally having to jump through hoops and using VPNs and trying to dodge certain censorships within certain countries, you know? All Bittensor is that open, permissionless, you know, network in which you can offer your services and your skill sets and be able to get rewarded for it. And in no other network is that prevalent, or is that available to anybody. So, you know, when I think of this guy who's in Iran, or I think of somebody who's in North Korea, or I think of somebody who's in Russia or some other country that has that censorship, that has websites blocked, these people can actually just go ahead, join as a miner, and be able to utilize their skill sets, their programming skills, if they're good at forecasting, if they're good at, AI stuff. It's all across the board. They're able to do that through the Bittensor permissionless decentralized network. And I don't think that there's any other blockchain you can say that offers that same sort of services. Ethereum, obviously they have their foundation, right? But you have to have permission to work as an engineer for the Ethereum Foundation, right? Like, same thing for Solana. All these other blockchains have certain applications and dApps, right? And they have teams, and the teams hire their employees, right? They hire their developers. And you need permission from them to work on those applications, right? Or those foundations. And like with Bittensor, you literally spin up your miner, you pay your registration fee, and then you see if you can go at it with the miners in the network and see if you can get rewards just like them. And for me, it's like, this is the new era of freelance work. This is the new era of remote work. This is the new era of not having to have a resume in order to work in blockchain, right? You can just literally take your skills, take your computer, and then go at it. Try to solve the problem. And if you can, you get rewarded for it. If you can't, maybe try somewhere else, another subnet in which you can do that. So, I just found that super fascinating in the sense that you finally have a place where you're a very educated person, you have a lot of skill sets, but you can't get a job for some reason, right? Whether it's being censored, whether you're in a country and they don't pay that much, right? This is a place where anywhere in the world, whether you're in North America, in Africa, in Asia, anywhere, right? You can go onto Bittensor, serve as a miner, and make as many rewards as somebody in the United States or somebody in, Europe or whatever, right? Like, everybody's in the same playing field, and that to me is a revolution, and that to me is a movement, right? This is a movement where people can remotely do freelance work and solve problems with their programming skills or their other skill sets, and in a place where, they don't care about your resume, they don't care about your connections, they don't care about any of that stuff, right? It's all about what you can do to solve that incentive mechanism, right? Solve that issue. And if you can solve the problem, you get rewarded, and you can do it over and over and over again, right? So I just was just completely floored by what this guy was telling me this morning, and I really just I felt deeply for him, because I was like, that's not right, like having websites blocked, not having access to be able to do freelance work, like not being able to get certain type of remote work, right? When you have all these skills, right? Like it's like you're handcuffed and you have one hand tied behind your back and you can't do anything, like. But with Bittensor, he's going to be able to be a miner. He's going to be able to solve problems. He's going to be able to get rewarded for it. And I'm just super pumped about that. I'm super happy for him and anybody else in the world that is in this similar conundrum, because it can't just be him, right? There's probably thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, maybe even millions of people that have this kind of issue, right? Where they need permission in order to work somewhere. They need connections in order to get in the door. They're being censored. They can't even access. They can't even get in the door, right? So this is where it's at. Bittensor's where it's at. This is where you can get your rewards. This is where you can get your work done and be able to provide for yourself and your family, right? If you're good enough, right? So this is a movement. This is a revolution. This is something that just gets me super amped up, as you can see. And this is a place where any developer, any coder, anyone with any sort of skill set that a subnet, wants people to solve problems for, you can come in and do it, right? You know, you don't have a government getting in your way. You don't have any banks getting in your way. You don't have to, fill out an application and have a foundation accept you or have some sort of like project accept you. That's not how it works. Like it's a 100% merit-based project platform, period, right? That's it. So that's what this video is all about. It's not a blockchain, it's not a crypto project, it's not an AI project, it's not even an incentivization project. It might be all those things, but for me, it's a movement project. It's a give opportunities to the opportunity-less people project, right? And that is powerful, right? That's powerful, and I'm just very excited to see more people jump in on this who haven't been able to get those opportunities, and they can be in a place where they can actually utilize their skill sets and be able to get rewarded for it, without having to jump through hoops of all those different variables that I mentioned. So what do you guys think? Are you pumped like me? Like, this is super, super cool, super intriguing, super powerful. And I'd like to know down in the comments below what you guys think about this, because it's just, this is something bigger than all of us, right? And I think that there's going to be more people in different countries that have these issues that are going to find out about Bittensor and really start putting their skills to work. And it's just going to make the network more robust, and it's just going to spread like wildfire in terms of people getting to know everything that's going on within this project. So yeah, love to hear your thoughts. Definitely give this a like if you got some good information from this, and hit me with a subscribe, and look forward to talking to you guys soon. Take care.